opportunity for me to offer a different kind of perspective. It's great to be here. So yeah, my name is Gina Fiorile, and I'm a freshman at the Vermont School of Environment and Natural Resources at UVM. I'm an environmental studies major, and I'm from Saranac, New York, in the Adirondack Park region. I was highly involved in my environmental club in high school, along with being a featured student in a documentary about climate change in the Adirondacks. I helped plan the annual Adirondack Youth Climate Summit in Timberlake, New York, and the Vermont Youth Climate Summit, which took place for the first time this past year. Because of my work with student activism and youth climate program, I was nominated as the champion of change for climate change education and literacy through the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy. Last month, I traveled to Washington, D.C. to speak on a panel with other climate experts and be honored at the White House. My experiences have led me to have this important conversation with you today. I found that when students and young people realize the gravity and the threat that climate change poses, they are more willing to get involved. This realization is a motivator for youth to work towards solutions in their own capacity. Though this is a hopeful perspective, we can't do it alone. Changing a few light bulbs isn't going to solve climate change. We need a systematic transformation. We need to change where we get our energy from and solve the issue at its source. That's where you come in. You have the power to create more effective change in one day than I individually can make in a year. We are entrusting our leaders like you with our futures, with our livelihoods, with our own health, and with the health of the 7 billion people who live here too. I'm here to speak for my future, my friends, my generation, and those still to come. Climate change is threatening not only my future, but the future of billions. 97% of climate scientists agree that climate change is human-induced. In fact, it's such a basic concept that a recent poll found that 9 out of 10 8th graders also understand this to be true. We know it's at stake, and we can recognize the consequences of inaction. If elected leaders like you don't act, an increase in tropical storms and droughts will destroy the crops we rely on for food, leaving many people food insecure. If elected leaders like you don't act, the EPA states that by 2070, the climate of Vermont will be similar to that of North Carolina. If elected leaders like you don't act, millions of people living on flooded shorelines will be displaced and will become part of a growing population of climate refugees. If elected leaders like you don't act, the WHO says 5 million people will lose their lives by 2050 just from malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and heat stress. Every day of my life, I worry about how climate change will impact my future. Do not forget what responsibilities you've been entrusted with as an elected leader. We are looking to you for protection. Scientists, the military, Bill McKibben, and even the Pope understand that the next few years are critical for us. The decisions we make in the upcoming months could make or break our chances of combating climate change. You have a small window of time to act, and it's closing quickly. The leaders in this room have the power to start making changes. I don't have the luxury of waiting until I graduate to start pressing for an energy transformation. What you decide today will determine what my future looks like. I'm frightened when I see the men and women in Congress who are supposed to be protecting my future against climate change are actually writing books to mislead the public and twist the words of those who are warning us. I'm frightened by the politicians in Florida who tried to ban the very words climate change when the rising ocean is already washing into the streets of South Beach. It should frighten you too to think that these are the same people who will decide the future and safety of your kids and your grandkids if you refuse to act. You have a moral obligation to step up and protect us. It begins here. It starts with acknowledging the problem that climate change is being caused by human activities. This resolution is just the beginning. Action needs to start now in order to solve the problem. And in the end, actions will speak louder than words. I cannot vote on the policies that will turn these words into action. You can. Please don't let us down. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? What are you studying?
Environmental studies.